The advice many of us were given is to follow your passion, and that rule assumes you already have one. Growing up, I didn't. I had lots of things I liked, but nothing I was passionate about. And then I gained experience and started to realize something. Maybe you're not passionate yet because you haven't found the thing you care about. You haven't had the experience. So, this one's about what you can do when nothing is lighting you up yet, how you try things and pay attention to what draws you. Welcome to Tessera, a podcast by Tesseros. Here, we're learning in the workshop of everyday life. Small adjustments, simplified workflows, creative ideas explored instead of ignored. Each episode, I share real stories from home and work as I experiment with technology and AI. Not to chase perfection, but to build systems that support what actually matter. Because when our systems support us, we create space for the things that shape us. I'm glad you're here to build this mosaic. Let's place the next piece. I was in my mid-20s when Simon Sinek's The Power of Why started going around our office. Everyone was sharing the video and lit up and engaged. Find your passion. Do what you're passionate about. If you're not following your passion, you're never going to be happy. And it was kind of distressing because I didn't have one, and everyone else felt like they did. There's a trap in that follow your passion treats it like something that already exists for you, just waiting for you to discover it. And if you go looking and come up empty, it feels like something's wrong with you. But one of the things that I've noticed since is that sometimes we simply haven't been exposed to the things that give us passion yet. What feels like missing passion can be information. It can be telling you that this isn't it, not yet. You find passion by going out and trying things and paying attention to what actually draws you. And if nothing is drawing you, that's information too. It's telling you try the next thing. Around the same time as that video was going around, we read Good to Great at Work in a workbook club. We went through it chapter by chapter, and the whole book is about the pursuit of greatness. And I remember sitting there thinking two things. One, we'd been hoping for a professional development, got a book club, wasn't quite what we were going for. But two, the math just didn't feel worth it. I didn't want to put in the extra work to be great. I wanted to be good and go do something else. One thing I've realized since is that I have a perfectionist, fairly honest math. Growing up, I was a very good student, and I learned quite young that for me, the gap between an 80, a 90, and 100 is not linear. Getting from a 90 to 100 can cost almost a third of the amount of work that 80 took. So if I could get an 80 or a 90 with what I considered reasonable effort, spending those extra hours for the last 5 or 10% didn't feel like a good trade. When I was reading Good to Great, thinking about how I'd apply it to be great at my work, it felt like effort that I didn't see the value in giving. Everyone said the book was great, be great at everything you do, and I just didn't care. I didn't want to be great at what I was doing. I wanted to go do other things. And that feeling stuck with me through multiple roles. I'd be doing my job and think, why don't I have passion? Why don't I want to be great? If I put in the effort, I'm sure I could be, so why don't I want to put the effort in? Until I started gaining experience and opportunity to shape the roles around work I was truly interested in, the counting stopped. It evolved over time, but at one point I looked at my role and thought, wait, I do want to be great at this. I really like what I'm doing. It's interesting. I designed the role. I'm making a difference. And that's when Good to Great finally made sense. Never resonated earlier because everything in front of me felt like more work for 100 that I didn't want. Now I want to be great at what I'm doing because I picked the things that got me here. As I've gone through work and life, this has shown up in other ways too. Before I had kids, I had a very clear picture of my retirement. I was going to be the grandmother who's always around, chubby cheeks, gummy bears, playing with the grandkids, visiting, present, fully integrated in everyone's lives. And then I had kids, and I realized two things. One, having kids doesn't guarantee that I'll have grandkids. And two, life can be short and nothing is guaranteed. So what if this retirement that I'm planning doesn't happen? There are too many elements in there completely beyond my control. And I don't want to build a whole life around a retirement that I have no control over. So then who am I if that's not the next goal? What do I want to do? What am I passionate about? And the answer for me wasn't find a hobby, it was build myself. Find something that gives me my own satisfaction and carries its own weight. Looking at the elements within my control. What kind of person do I want to be? What do I want to be involved in? How do I make a difference? Show up, provide support when it isn't directly from my family? How do I extend my circle to create the kind of meaning I want? And I think sometimes we expect every single day to hold a moment of passion. And it might be more realistic to look at the arc and ask, am I on a path I even want to be on? Am I finding these moments of joy and can I make more of them? That's far more sustainable than needing every day to be a great day. That question of how do I extend my circle has become a real driver in opening this chapter of my life. How do I take these moments and skills and teachings and apply them beyond the people right around me? I think that's one of the biggest holdups with this AI game. I mentioned last time that I've been stuck and I don't have a good concept and it really hasn't moved. And I do have ideas starting to flow again, but I think what the holdup actually was is I want it to matter. The point for me isn't specifically build a game. The point is make learning fun. And so the real question underneath isn't what game do I build? It's what do we want to learn next? And I haven't had the answer, so the game had nowhere to go. One of the things I've been doing in the meantime is learning how AIs and search engines actually find your content, your material, you. And in the process, I started to understand that audio isn't searchable. There needs to be written versions so that search engines can actually find you and recommend what you're doing to the people it might help, the ones searching for these terms. So I went back through all the prior episodes of Tessera, pulling out transcripts and thinking about how to put this together in a way that's readable for Google and other search engines and also gives another format to the material that I've already made. Structured templates, time-stamped chapters, companion articles for episodes. This way, the search engines and AIs that don't hear audio can help provide text so people can find the work that I've been doing. And as I was getting all of these set up about halfway through, I realized I had a spelling error in one of my templates, and there were 17 documents to work through. And it reminded me of at one point in my career, I had a contract with a mortgage company implementing automation. And back then, automation meant opening every templated document, confirming or correcting named fields, saving and closing. And often the opening, saving, and closing took longer than the actual work. It was profitable, but it didn't engage me. And with today's technology, I handed a copy of all these materials to cowork and said, here's the error, replace it everywhere with the corrected spelling. And I did it in 20 seconds. It replaced hours of work, a file at a time, that I'd been doing forever. And now it's a task I can just hand off. And this is a part that lights me up, is what automation frees me to do. Cowork didn't only do the find and replace, I also had one phrase that was worded similarly, but not identically across the files. So a normal find and replace wouldn't do it accurately anyway. But I described what the phrase looked like and what I wanted it instead, and it could do that too. I'm still going through my own manual edit, so if I missed anything, I'll catch it, but getting a solid readout and adjustment across all my files saved me an enormous amount of time. The mortgage work was boring because it was the wrong kind of work for me. But what lit me up this week was what the automation freed me to do, actually see my material differently. And when something makes me work different and understand different, that excites me. And that's what started to loosen the game, because that feeling, this fun, I'm learning something, I want to keep going, is exactly what I've been trying to build into the game. I still don't have a finished concept, but I have ideas starting again. And now I have new ways to revisit material that I've already made and build something different out of it with a clearer question of what do we want to learn next and how do I make that fun? The thing these moments share is that nobody hands you a self that fits. It's not at 25 watching a TED Talk. It's not at 40 as you're being a parent. It's not this week being stuck in a project. The things that I'm passionate about now, my family, teaching, helping adults expand what they already have in ways that suit them, none of that existed in my 20s. It couldn't have. I didn't have the experience, the family, or the knowledge to do the things that I'm passionate about. I've built it through accumulated experience and deliberate change. I don't think passion is found. It's uncovered by trying things and really paying attention to what pulls at you. And if nothing is pulling, you keep trying. And that's where you start to learn what you really enjoy. A couple other build updates. Perspective Flip officially has a version 2. I got genuinely actionable feedback, worked it in, and I'm really excited about where it's landing. So thank you to everyone who has been helping me test. And I finally figured out how to get a hosted version of the game, so we'll see how that goes. It's nice to have an online version though, because iPhones behave differently. And I'm starting to understand why there are so many different rules and versions floating around of things out there. The purchase version will always include a download, so people always own what they buy, but this is a new piece for us to experiment with. So today's Tessera is there something in your life that already excites you? If there is, make more time for it. And if there isn't yet, try something new. At work, in your life, wherever things feel stuck, give yourself a new input. Could be a book you wouldn't normally read, a podcast you don't usually listen to, a skill you haven't tried, a walk somewhere you haven't been. Do something different and see if it draws you. And if it doesn't, you have one more piece of information on something you're not interested in. But maybe you catch the edge of a thread that shows you something you like. Thanks for listening to Tessera. If this episode sparked an idea or helped you forge a new path, we'd love to hear it. Tessera is built by community. Send us your questions, feedback, or stories about how you're using AI and other technologies to simplify your life. Email us at hello@tesseros.com or leave a review on the app where you're listening right now. And if you know someone who's looking to craft their life a little bit differently, please share this episode with them. You can find all episodes, show notes, and extras at tesseros.com/Tessera and subscribe through your preferred podcast app. Until next time, keep placing the pieces that matter.